Hello students, welcome to IFAS, and here I am again with another informative video for all the UGC NET English aspirants. So in today's video we will be talking about the important Indian poets or maybe writers who played a very important role in the Indian English, and what are their famous works and how they are famous, if you know about it or not. Everything related to Indian poets we are going to talk about in today's video. So first of all, we will start our session with the most important poet whose name is Toru Dutt. Now Toru Dutt is a female writer basically. So a lot of people get confused here that Toru Dutt is male or female. So Toru Dutt, she is female and she learned Sanskrit in England. So this is another important thing you should know about her, that she learned Sanskrit in England, which is very interesting thing about her. So there was in 1 year the question was asked on this, and she translated Mahabharata, Ramayana as well as other epics, and all these works which she translated was clubbed together, and it was in one book you will find, which is the Ancient Ballads and Legends of Hindustan. Okay, this is the book written by Toru Dutt, in which you will find the translations of Ramayana, Mahabharata and other epics of India. Okay, and another, so it is the Edmund Goose wrote an introduction to this particular collection. Who wrote the introduction? Intro was written by Edmund Goose. This is another important name you have to remember whenever you are studying the works of Toru Dutt. Okay. Then another famous work or famous poem written by Toru Dutt is the Casuarina tree. So our Casuarina, now the Casuarina tree is a different work. It is written by different poet, but our Casuarina tree is written by Toru Dutt. Please don't get confused between the Casuarina tree and our Casuarina tree. Okay, so again this is a very beautiful poem written by Toru Dutt, where she talks about the childhood memories of hers with the Casuarina tree. Okay, which was there. So everything related to her childhood and how she connects it with the tree is everything written in a very beautiful way in this particular poem. Okay, so do read it. Now the second important poet we are going to talk about is A.K. Ramanujan. Now A.K. Ramanujan, he is well versed with Hindi, English, Tamil and Kannada. Okay, so these are the 4 different languages in which he was well versed with, and influenced by Shelley and P.B. He was influenced by Shelley as well as W.B. Yeats. Okay, so these were the 2 people he was very much influenced with, as well as influenced by the Tamil Sangam tradition. Okay, so it is again divided into 2 parts. One part is called as the Agam and the second part is called as Puram. So in Agam it is about the inner world and in Puram it is about the outer world. Okay, so remember this. It is about the outer world. Now, the very famous essay written by R.K. Ramanujan is there an Indian way of thinking? Okay, So this is a very famous book essay written by A.K. Ramanujan, and another important work written by A.K. Ramanujan is the Samaskara. So basically it is written by U.R. Ananthamurthy, but it is translated into English by A.K. Ramanujan. Okay. So there is an important theme in this book is that family and human relation. Okay. And it is the work of A.K. Ramanujan in the post-colonialism in small scale reflections. Okay. So his basically whatever the works he wrote, some of his works are focused on the theme as the family and human relationships, okay, in the post-colonial world. The next important poet, Indian poet we are going to talk about is Nissim Ezekiel. Now there are a lot of famous works written by Nissim Ezekiel, lot of famous plays written by Nissim Ezekiel. The one very famous poem you will find is that poet, lover and bird watcher. Okay, so this is a very famous poem or written by Nissim Ezekiel. Plus he Shakespeare also compares his poems or and lunatics. Okay, a lover in this book, Midsummer Night's Dream. Okay, so there you will find the comparison between the lover. And then best poets wait for the words of Nissim Ezekiel. So this is another important thing you should know about him, and he is he deals basically with the ordinary problems, ordinary common problems. Okay, so all of his works you will find in a way which are dealt with the ordinary problems that a common man will face. Okay, so even in the poem poet, lover and bird watcher, you will find the comparison between all of these three in a very general and very ordinary manner. Okay, but still it is a very beautiful poem. Then he also writes about the Nepal's India and mime. Okay, so another important work written by Nissim Ezekiel is that. And then you will find this poet, lover and bird watcher in this book, which is a collection of the poems of Nissim Ezekiel. You will also find a few more poems written by Nissim Ezekiel. So if you haven't read it as of now, go and read it today itself. Okay. Now the next poet that we are going to talk about is Anita Desai. So Anita Desai is again Indian poetess you can call it, and the famous work written by her is Cry the Peacock. It is collected with and it is connected with that long silence by Shashi Deshpande. Okay, which is again important work. Then now we are going to talk about R.K. Narayan. So R.K. Narayan is a very famous Indian poet or writer, and the very famous book written by, or the work written by him, is called as Malgudi Days. So Malgudi Days is a work written by R.K. Narayan, and there is a series. Earlier it was displayed on the television as well, Malgudi Days, which was very interesting, and it was a light kind of a series. Okay. Then another important novel written by R.K. Narayan is The Guide. Then you will find a movie based on this book, that is, the name is the same, The Guide, where you will find the hero in that movie is Devanand. Okay, so you can watch that movie if you have watched it. It is based on this novel written by R.K. Narayan. Okay. Then there is another important work which is not known to many of the students who are learning English literature, that is A Man Eater of Malgudi. Okay, it is another work, and this is on the Bhasmasur. Okay, character is Bhasmasur, who is self-destructive. Which means self destructive. Okay. So this is very famous, so you can mark it. If you haven't read about it as of now, you have to read it because it is a very famous work and it is also important from your exam perspective. So whenever something is asked from R.K. Narayan's work, this is another important work which you have to study for. Okay. The next we are going to talk about Girish Karnad. So Girish Karnad is basically Maharashtrian, and Girish Karnad also has written the very famous work by Girish Karnad is the play called as 𝐻𝐸𝐵. So 𝐻𝐸𝐵 is inspired by the Katha Sarit Sagar. Katha Sarit Sagar. Okay, it is inspired by this work. And the plot has been taken from the Thomas Mann's Transposed Heads. Thomas Mann's very famous work, Transposed Heads. Okay. So there is this collection of plays written by Girish Karnad in which you will find Tughlaq, 𝐻𝐸𝐵, then Bali, the sacrifice, and Naga Mandela. Okay, so these are the different plays written by Girish Karnad. Now we are going to talk about Badal Sircar. Now Badal Sircar is another important writer or poet of Indian English, and the important work written by Badal Sircar is 𝐈𝐽𝐺𝐸𝐻 Indrajit. Okay, so 𝐈𝐽𝐺 Indrajit, the language of this play is originally from Bengal, and it was played in the theatre Shatabdi. Okay, so it is similar to Samuel Beckett's Waiting for Godot. Now I have been talking about Waiting for Godot in many of my videos, many of my lives. So if you don't know about what is Waiting for Godot, you should know it. Okay, so it is similar. So you will find 𝐈𝐽𝐺 Indrajit similar to Waiting for Godot. Okay. Now the next important Indian poet we are going to talk about is Kiran Desai. Now Kiran Desai is the daughter of Anita Desai. Then the famous work by her is Hula Baloo in the Guava Orchard. I guess the name is not very visible to you. It is Hula Baloo in the Guava Orchard. Okay. So, and it is similar to R.K. Narayan's the novel The Guide. Okay, it is similar to The Guide of R.K. Narayan. Then the last and the most important, last but not the least important poet of Indian literature is, or Indian English literature is Amitav Ghosh. So, Amitav Ghosh, he has written a beautiful work called as Ibis Trilogy. The Ibis Trilogy, and this Ibis Trilogy is it is divided, or it is the set of 3 books. First book is A Sea of Poppies, second book is The River of Smoke, and the third book is Flood of Fire. Okay. So this is very important, and it is interconnected. Okay, so if you have started reading one, you have to read all of them, otherwise you will not understand. Then it is the important and historic significance is is first one is it is significant events we are talking about in which Amitav Ghosh was part. It is first one is opium trade. And the second one is transport of labours. Okay. So these are the two very important works or significant events you should know about Amitav Ghosh. I hope you have understood each and every Indian poet, what was their contribution in English literature, which are the famous works written by them. Okay. So this was it for today's session, and we will stop here, and till the time we meet next, happy learning. And soon I'll be coming up with another new video, another informative video. But for that, you have to stay connected. You have to stay tuned with IFAS UGC NET platform. Okay. So until the time we meet next, happy.